Doing today? How's everybody doing?
Doing good, doing good. How are you doing?
Awesome. You got that big radio DJ voice. Who is this? It just says iPhone.
My name is Keelan Johnson.
Keelan Johnson. Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you as well. I was invited by Gamel
Awesome.
from Sacramento.
Well, I'm sorry for your luck, but nice to have you just the same. What's up, Garrett?
Hey, how are you, Randy? Thanks
Doing
for
great. Doing great, brother. Doing great. Good to see you. We got Doug Grace in the house.
Hoorah!
Paul and Julie. Hoorah! Jennifer Walker. Good to see everybody. Is everybody in California? Looks like we are. Okay, so we'll spend some time on the California piece instead of a lot of my coaching calls. I had Canada, New York, Florida. Everybody's different. So I'm excited to be here today. I'm really, again, I'm doing this to try and give you guys some content and some things that are valuable for you. Well, we just got a Seattle guy in the house, so I screwed up my program. I got all California in the house, so I could just go down the California road. But now we got Seattle, the epicenter of the, you probably we're in the center of the outbreak.
I am. My wife is working in the hospital.
I wasn't going to say that, but I let you do it. His wife's actually at the hospital where the major stuff's going down. How are you, Daniel? Are you safe? Are you healthy?
I am. I'm a little mad I didn't get a video walkthrough done yesterday because the house wasn't ready. But other than that,
that's a small problem in our world, brother. But so I appreciate you being here. So everybody, thank you for being on the call. We're going to do this call every single Thursday at 11 o'clock. Invite anybody you want. If you like the content, just share it with somebody. It's FREE99. That's a Jesse James thing, FREE99. But if you like the content, you think it's valuable, we're going to be bringing live things that I'm getting from my coach, Tom Ferry, Bill Pipes, the two top leaders in the coaching world. I got 8 pages of notes from them over the last week of things that's working. You know, I've got the big panel that we're doing on Tuesdays and Fridays at 11 a.m. Plug into that if you want some inspiration and find out what the top agents in the world are doing. I got Carrie Scholl on there, number 2 agent in the world, all brands, number 2. Has a team of over 90 agents personally. We have Lana Rodriguez in Colorado Springs, couple hundred transaction a year producer. We got Mike Bjorkman, couple hundred transactions a year. Tom Daves, hundreds of transactions a year, if not thousands. We got a lot of horsepower on the call, and it's all free. It's all for you to hear what's going on. And the main purpose of this is to let you know the world is still turning. And I'm gonna lead with this. Number 1, thank you for being here. I'm glad that you and your families are safe. And we just want to really lead with empathy today as we move through these challenging times with people, and the communication's got to change. The business plans that we had 2.5 months ago for January 1st to crush 2020 are gone. Those business plans are out the window. And right now we need to reintroduce a new business plan. I'm going to talk about that as we progress today. So we're going to spend, I'm available to spend as much time as you want together. I'll stay as long as you have questions after the call. Tom Bilyeu does that live, and I love it. He stayed one time for 5 hours answering questions after a 2-hour seminar. No bathroom breaks, no nothing. And I'm like, dude, there's a limit. But I'm going to be that for you. As long as you have questions, I'll be here. And, I want to give and serve. So that takes me to my first message for the day. My coach and I were talking about this, Pipes and Ferry and I were talking about this, the fulfillment of joy. Like, what is true joy, right? And Harvard did a study on this, and they determined that joy is 2 things: the total fulfillment of somebody to have true joy in their life. And there's a lot of answers from religion and spiritual and everything, right? There's a lot of pieces to it. But the 2 things that were the number 2 things in this survey by Harvard were growing and learning is number 1. And number 2, contributing to others. And that's really no surprise, right? Because if we look at any other things outside those 2 things, it really comes back to that in some capacity. So, you know, you have the movie, Jennifer, we talked about it earlier, In Pursuit of Happiness, right? The movie with Will Smith. Great movie. And that really is what we're focusing on, is we're all looking for the pursuit of happiness. And, you know, in these times, it's really, really important that you focus your mind power and your brain on things that are going to be valuable for you on the positive side of things. Now, I'm not saying hide in a hole and don't understand that there's a lot of crazy things going on in the world. I'm just saying your intake of that craziness is up to you. Okay, that intake of information is going to put you in a primal or a powerful state. And so if you haven't heard this, or you haven't heard me talk about this before, and I'm going to read these again to you, Jennifer, because you asked me earlier, but when you operate in a primal state, you're operating in fear, grief, depression, despair, powerlessness, insecurity, guilt, jealousy, anger, rage, revenge, and hatred. That's all the negative emotional scale, and that happens to be the primal side of your brain. And your primal side of the brain is made to keep you in survival mode, right? It's made that risk, that fight or flight, or to freeze, or to run before you think about why you're running. These are all things that are in that primal state. And then on the powerful state, you have joy, passion, empowerment, freedom, love, appreciation, enthusiasm, eagerness, happiness, positive expectation, belief, boredom, pessimism. It starts to get into the middle, right? And then when you get into the middle, you have that kind of boredom, irritation, and restlessness. The thing is with this, guys, is your mindset's going to be incredibly powerful as we progress through these times. And what you decide to put in it is incredibly important. So, you know, what are you doing to stay optimistic is really the question I have for you today. And I'd love to go around the horn and just give, you know, just 10 or 15 seconds about what you're doing personally to stay optimistic in this time. And if you could, I'd love you to go around the horn and share it. So take your mics off mute and let me know what you're personally doing to stay optimistic.
I'll go first. So for me, I have found it to be a little bit of a challenge to only work from home with the kids at home and with the environment being different. It is definitely it's a different environment, which changes my mindset a little bit. So one, I close the door, and then two, I think that having more conversations with the business partners and identifying our priorities and working in that fashion helps me to just simply continue to focus on what we can do, whether it's with agent attraction or whether it's with personal production. I still am finding people that are out working, and they're, of course, we talk about what they can do to be safe as they are out helping people provide shelter, right?
Right.
So that sort of thing, just focusing on what we can get done and having good conversations with business partners.
I like that. Thank you. Any next person?
I'll speak up. I think that Doug just hit it right on. There's been a ton of different Zoom meetings and trainings just throughout the industry that that I've been really on. It's been, I think your last call you had a bunch of agents on, Carrie Scholl and them,
Yeah.
which just hearing from other successful agents, knowing that, yeah, we're in a tough time, but there's still things that we could do to stay optimistic, to keep grinding. I mean, for me, I've been, making a ton of more calls. I've been getting a hold of a lot more people. So it keeps me optimistic as well. But yeah, I think, just doubling up on my calls and just watching as many trainings as I can now, because a lot of the top agents are doing these trainings, and it's great to hear that people are still working. And
yeah, and we're only in our bubble of intake, right? If you're watching the news, that's your only intake of information. And I think you and Doug both mentioned it. And I think it's a great idea. It's pick the leaders that seem to have the most optimistic approach to this and lock onto them. You have a choice. You could lock on to Negative Nancy, the ostrich with their head in their sand, or you could lock on to Brent Gove. You can't talk to Brent Gove and not be excited about the opportunity in the future. I mean, it's just impossible, right? Because he's just a forever optimist. I am too, but I'm going to be honest and real with you guys for a minute. I got caught up into the news cycle. For the first 3 days, the beginning of last week, I think is when it was. And then California went on lockdown. And I was like, this is real. You know, I was dismissing it as just the flu like everybody else. And then all of a sudden it impacted me. I was like, holy crap, this is real. And then I got caught up in the news. And I can't watch CNN, not even for a minute, but I was on Fox News for like 3 straight days. And recording it, watching it later. And it affected me. It affected me deeply because all of a sudden I started living in all those areas. I was, whatever you focus on expands, right? And I know this is going to seem like a lot more therapy than coaching today, but I think it's needed personally. But whatever you focus on expands. And I was focused on all the bad stuff. And when I was focusing on that, more bad shit started showing up because I was open to it. I'm not open to bad stuff now. So when somebody brings bad stuff, I'm like, whoa, 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 step back 6 feet, step back 20 feet. I don't want to hear that stuff, right? It's not that I'm not getting my data still. I'm still checking about the stimulus plan, $2.1 trillion. I'm still checking on forbearance and what Fannie and Freddie are doing and what we're allowed to do as agents and the states that allow it. And I have a big organization, so I have teams all over the nation and they have different needs and rules. So I'm involved in that. So I can be educated for them as a coach. But I am not. I mean, I'm watching literally like about 5 minutes a day of the news, and I try to watch it top of the hour so I can catch the highlights. I just need the highlights and then let them go on for the next 2 hours about the junk. But it doesn't matter if New York went from 481 to 700 last night. It does not matter anymore. It mattered for me in the first 2 or 3 days because I was like, oh my God, this is real. Oh my God, you know, and we're all human beings. And even me as the most, motivating person I know even, we're all human. I got caught up in it too. And my buddy, Daniel's up in Seattle where it happened. And we talked about a week and a half ago and you were sharing that your wife's in the epicenter of it at the hospital. And, you know, it's crazy. That's what we focus on. But the reality is, what can I change, right? What can I change? And if you've noticed me, how much I've been on lately, it's because the fulfillment of joy, contributing to others. That's what this call is about. That's what my call with Carrie and all the other panels are about, contributing to others, because I know enough people are going to be impacted watching that and seeing what these agents are doing. It's going to give value to them. That makes sense? Anybody want to add anything of what they're doing optimistically right now?
Yeah, I'll go. I think this is a great time to get your systems in order. Work on your business.
Amen. I've done some things within my database that I've never had the time to do.
Yeah, I'm like, this is awesome. Actually, because I got some time to do it. And so that's kind of got to get your own stuff in order. Get your financial house in order. All that kind of stuff that you put off when you were busy doing work, and that kind of stuff. We've got the time to do it now. So, and there's going to be some opportunity coming out of this because the market's pent up, and there's always opportunity in these downturns.
Totally. And I don't want to single out anybody, but I had a conversation with an agent in a previous coaching call, and they had multiple listings that were not being put on the market yet. And the language was, that's one way to represent and support the seller, right? The other opportunity side of this is you tell the seller, hey, we have the opportunity to get multiple backup offers. You waiting 3 months until this is over is probably not serving you. What about if we do virtual tours? What if we don't allow anybody in the houses? What about if we stack up offers, right? That's the mindset that I think we could be valuable in right now. Is if you got a listing and the sellers want to take it off the market for a couple months, just say, hey, we can do that. I support you if that's what you want to do. But the option is this. We make it all virtual. Nobody's allowed in the house, period. We're going to get offer after maybe offer after offer. We're going to stack them up, and we're not going to let anybody in the house until it's clear and there's safety involved. And then at that time, offer number one that was the first one in gets the priority to see it first and make their best offer. And then if they don't like it, it goes to number two. all of a sudden you've got multiple buyers in your web. You've got multiple things that you're working with. You're also promoting all these properties during this downtime. You see how that's just a mind shift of what is possible in this particular time that we're in. And that's what the top agents in the nation are doing. Carrie Scholl, the #2 agent in the world, 90 agents on her team, said that they're busier than they were before this. They said that they have so much going on that they're busier before this because all the other agents laid down. And in Florida, you're still allowed, you're an essential in Florida, so you're still allowed to go show property and act normal pretty much. Can't have open houses and all those things. And she's in the Virginia market in Florida. But think about that for a minute. All the other agents are ostriches, or a majority of them. Their heads in the hole, waiting and peeking it out. Nope, still going on, back in. And she's dominating right now. She's changing, adding money to her Facebook and Zillow campaigns. She's dominating. She's going to own that market share she stole forever because her systems and stuff support that. That's what this calls for today, to think outside that box about what you can contribute and do to help your business today.
And Randy, I think with the 4 questions, to our sphere and all that, past clients, genius.
Thank you.
I called a bunch of people yesterday, got a hold of a few, and used those 4 questions, and they were so just thankful for me calling and asking those questions. I didn't even get into question number 4 with any of them,
And they know you're a realtor because you lead with that identity. And by the way, everybody on the call, we're going to give you that script today. We're going to talk about that. And matter of fact, who's the best typer in here? Anybody that's a really good typer?
I can type.
Okay, can you go through those questions and put them in the posts public so everybody can copy and paste them into their own thing?
Let me open the chat.
When we get to those, I'll get to them in a couple minutes, okay? But I'm going to give you guys those scripts to use. So, moving down my list, what's really important for you guys right now is along the lines of that mindset is take your meds. And I say that kind of jokingly, but take your meds, meaning meditate, exercise, diet, right? And sleep. You could say morning routine, you could say mindset, diet, whatever you want to do. But meds is a nice acronym that I use for meditate, exercise, diet, sleep. It could be mindset, exercise, diet, sleep, whatever you want it to be. But think about making sure you take your meds every day. You have to take care of you health-wise, water-wise. By the way, one of the things that I think is the most helpful for the disease is washing it out of your throat into your stomach where your stomach acids can get rid of it. I've seen this multiple times. It's been validated on several places I've looked. Even if it's wrong,
thank you for that video yesterday.
Even if it's wrong, I'm still doing it.
Every 15 minutes, take a drink of water.
Exactly. Every 15 minutes, take a drink of water, drink hot liquids. I mean, we want to be safe in this. And if I know something, I want to share it of what I believe to be accurate and helpful.
There's there's another way. You boil some water and you put some citrus and or like any citrus fruit, you put the peels of them in the pot and then you inhale. You can put some onions in there as well. And then you can inhale the steam.
I love it. There's just so many ways, just be educated in those areas and do all of them. I'm doing all of them, right? I'm gargling with Scope every 15 minutes. It's an antiseptic. Salt water is great to gargle with. Water every 15 minutes just to keep washing it down. The other day, I spent 17 and a half hours right here, right in my chair on live or in Zoom in some fashion of that. At the end of the day, I couldn't talk. My throat hurt so bad. And I'm like, oh, shit, I didn't drink any water because I was entrenched, right? And so I'm like, I got coronavirus. Of course, that's the first thing you think of. Well, I'm fine. I just didn't drink any water at all that day. And I'm sitting in my office talking at, the top of my lungs. But just take a deep breath, take care of yourself health-wise, eat correctly, drink water every 15 minutes.
Warm whiskey and lemon works really well too.
I like the whiskey part of it.
I know, right?
Tequila is really good too.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's get into some meat and potatoes, okay? I know we've got a lot of ballers on the call. We got a lot of people that I really respect on the call. I want to give you things that are going to be valuable for you to take away from the call today, the real intent of the call. Even if you take one nugget away, I think that's a win. I think you're going to get 4 or 5 nuggets out of this, honestly. So number 1, communicate with your SOI database and past clients. And this is, I mean it seriously. And we're going to give you the script for doing this now. Okay, so Jennifer, if you're ready to type, I'm going to start giving you the script. And then we're going to post it there so everybody can copy and paste it over. If you could write it down if we're going, whatever you want. It's pretty simple. But number one is, hi, how are you? And how are you and your family? Question mark. And when I see you post that, Jennifer, I'll go to the next one.
I posted it.
Okay, thanks. Oh, I see it. Thank you. So number two, do you have any needs I can help with? You could do variations of this, like, hey, do you need anything or can I help with anything? But in my opinion, if you say, do you have any needs? Question mark, that's powerful. Do you have any needs I can help with? Equally powerful. If you start trying to go down the road of, hey, do you need anything? I mean, you know, and try to explain, I think it takes away from the power of the question personally, but you do it as you want to, right? So do you have any needs I can help with? Number three, Justin, you remember what it is? That was a test. I'm just messing with you.
I know what it is.
You're on mute, Justin. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Have you been impacted by work layoffs? If so, you want to dig in and ask them some
Correct.
questions about it.
So question, put number three, there you go. Have you been impacted by work layoffs? Pause, okay? Don't keep going. Have you been impacted by work layoffs? Because they're gonna say, no, we're fine. Or they're gonna say, yeah, my wife is laid off. She worked at a restaurant. So you could dig in on that empathy. Okay, this is really, really impactful for listening to what they're talking about. So if they say, yeah, you know, I'm fine, but my wife got laid off and now we're in pretty much half income. Wow. You know, what's that doing to your family? Are you guys okay? Is there anything I can do? If she worked for a restaurant, which one? We can promote it, right? There's been a lot of great things promoting restaurants, promoting takeout, promoting, you know, all kinds of stuff. You saw Tom Daves do a video the other day in a pizza parlor that literally had 50 rolls of toilet paper and 50 bottles of water lined out. That's what they were giving guests as a gift when the guests came in to get their food. And I'm like, brilliant, right? That's not taking advantage of the situation. That's maximizing the situation. Okay. So have you been impacted by the work layoffs? Okay. Those three questions, like Justin said, you may not get to the fourth question because they're going to be so impacted by this and thankful that you're checking on them and you're not spitting about buying and selling real estate. The fourth question has to do with real estate, but be very cautious how you use this question, meaning that either follow the script or make sure you're really leading with empathy and you don't have an ulterior motive, basically, okay? But do you have the next one to post, Jennifer? Do you have it typed out ready? I thought you did. There's much going on in real estate now with forbearance, bailouts, and historically low interest rates. Do you have any real estate questions I can answer? Okay, so you're serving them, and you guys are totally available to change this wording a little bit for yourself, your own style, whatever it is. But these four questions came from Tom Ferry himself, and I believe that they're masterful. We have 7,000 of the top agents in the nation making these phone calls with this kind of script. So they may hear it, it's possible, but it's powerful. And I've tried it. I know a couple of people on the call have tried it. It's had massive success. Gamal, did you say you tried this yesterday, Gamal?
Oh, yeah, yesterday and today.
And what's the reception from? I'd like to know what the reception is when people are getting it.
I couldn't get them to shut up, so I can get to my next call.
Well,
they were so appreciative and just overwhelming, and then I'd bring it back and ask the next question. But it went well. They were just very appreciative.
I'm glad I heard that because listen, people need that empathy right now. They're trying to hold their shit together right now too. And when you call them, I'm going to tell a story. It's very short, but I had a call 2 days ago. It was my 17.5-hour day I just told you about. That was the day we did the national call. We did all this stuff, and I was just grinding 2:30 in the morning till whatever, 8 something at night. And I had a call from a friend of mine, a female, she's a coach. And she said, Randy, how are you doing? Do you need anything? What can I help you with? She's not a coach in Tom Ferry, so it wasn't that same exact script. But, you know, it was her checking on me. And I was so busy, I didn't even want to take the phone call. But I was like, hey, I'm good. We talked for like 5 minutes to be respectful. And then I said, hey, what can I do for you? You called me, obviously, you need something, right? What can I do to help you? I want to help you. Thank you so much. I love you. She's like, no, you don't understand. This phone call is because you're more important to me than a text. And I literally was like heart touched on that.
Yeah.
This phone call is because you're more important to me than a text. And I literally I could still feel my eye quiver when I say that, because it meant that much to me. That she reached out to me, and she's the only person on the planet that said those words to me. And it meant a lot. And this is what I'm impressed upon you. The power of your phone call you're making is not for a sell in 30 days, although it could happen. This is to help your people that you care about, your clients, your past clients, your sphere of influence, your database. Start at the top with your best people. By the way, don't forget mom and dad, sisters and brothers and siblings and cousins, right? They're just as important in this circle. But start at the top and work to the bottom. That buyer that's never heard from you before, get to him over the next 1, 2, 3 weeks and just say this: how are you and your family? I want to say the words, but I want to inflect the tonality of it as well, because I think it's important. Jennifer, let's do a real quick role play. Hey,
Sure.
Jennifer, ring, ring.
Hey, how's it going?
Jennifer, it's great. It's Randy over here at eXp Realty. First of all, how are you and your family?
You know, stressful times, stressful situations, kind of feeling it coming at all ends, all angles.
I totally understand that. I think we're all in this together in that particular level. Is there anything you need? Do you have any needs whatsoever?
Right now I'm concerned with finances. I really need to figure out how I'm going to get around making my bills.
I have a lot of potential solutions and opportunities for you. Do you mind if I share maybe an email with some highlights of things that are available for you right now? There's a lot going on right now with people with unemployment rate or unemployment benefits, even for self-employed. There's a lot of things going on right now. I'd be happy to share some of those things with you if that helps.
Randy, that would be great. I would absolutely love that.
I'll get those over today. I've got some things lined up right now, but I'll get them over by the end of the day. Okay, just look for that
Perfect.
email from me.
Okay.
So, you know, have you been impacted by this with work layoffs?
Well, in my career, I'm self-employed, so I'm kind of in a rut. I feel like I'm in a foxhole. There's really not a whole lot I can do, not a whole lot of things I can really, it's kind of out of my control. So yeah, I would say I'm definitely affected. How about you? How's real estate affected?
You know, I'm blessed. I'm doing fine. My family's safe. Everybody's great. You know, I'm focusing on the positive things and trying to stay away from the news, like
Yes.
I want to. But you know, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. That means a lot to me. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of I'll include in the email. There are a lot of things for small business,
Okay.
and you know, a small business is getting a chunk of this stimulus plan. So you might really have some opportunities, and they're going to be time sensitive. So I'm going to recommend that you do them sooner than later. But I'm so glad that we talked and you had those amazing questions. So just before I go, Jennifer, obviously, you know, I'm in the real estate space. There's a lot of things going on that may or may not impact you in the real estate side, with forbearance, the stimulus and bailout program, historically low interest rates. Do you have any real estate questions I can help you answer?
No, but that's good to know, because I can pass that on to my landlord. Maybe it would help him out, and he'll kind of be more understanding as far as me paying rent, being a little late.
Absolutely. There's some rights that you have also now in California that are in your benefit, and they're really not in the landlord's benefit, but they're in your benefit. but it'd be good for him to know the facts as well. And I'll share that with you too. Would it be okay? I have an email that I'm trying to send out, at least once a week, just with all these pertinent facts, because things are day by day, minute by minute. Would it be okay if I just included you in this? I don't want to be assuming.
Yeah, they are day by day, minute by minute. I agree with you on that. And I would appreciate any extra knowledge I can get.
Perfect. I'll include you in that, and know that I'm here for you as a human being, Jennifer. This is not about real estate right now. This is about us helping each other as human beings. So you got my number. I'm a text or a phone call away. I appreciate your time today, and I'll check back with you and make sure that you and your family stay safe.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Randy.
Thank you very much. Okay, pause. Right? So great example of tonality and empathy and compassion. It's not just about getting through the script, right? So hopefully you guys can embrace that and bring it into your own element that would be valuable for you. And, if it helps, I'm blessed by it. So any questions on that before I go to the next item? Okay. So, and you can ask any questions you want in the chat box. If I'm in the middle of a subject, you think of something else, put in the chat. Everybody will be able to see this later too. So next things, cadence of contact. This is going to be really, really important right now. Cadence of contact means how often are you making these phone calls to that database we just talked about? And then also current listings, current escrows, and anybody that's then listed and then maybe decided to put it on hold. I think this goes for them as well. The cadence should be every day. That might blow you away, but the cadence should be every single day. You're contacting a seller, a buyer, or somebody that's in your pipeline. I'm not talking about a future lead. I'm talking about somebody that signed a listing agreement, or you guys talked about listing it. It's signed. You're not going to list it till April 1st. They're just as important because they're listening to the same news that is screwing up the population. They're getting cold feet and they're not knowing what to do and who to turn to. Every single day, that phone call could be very easy, but I know what's going on in your head. What am I going to say? What am I going to say to these people that are valuable, right? So it could be as simple as, hey, Daniel, it's Randy Byrd. Hey, I know we just talked yesterday. I don't have anything new to report. I just want you to hear my voice and know that I'm on it.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the call.
I'll call you tomorrow.
All right.
Okay. The expectation's been set. I'm going to stay in touch with him every day. And then if he has anything that comes up, now tomorrow, go off the deep end with me a little, Daniel. Like today you were totally fine. Tomorrow, just whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. Hey, Daniel, Randy Byrd, how are you doing? Hey, I got just a couple quick things to report. They did pass the stimulus package. That's going to have some impacts. And also there's forbearance and some other things that went into place. I just wanted to bring you up to speed on those items. Do you have any real estate questions I can help with?
Yeah, really. I just don't know how this stimulus package is going to help us because we're above that income line, but we're still, in that section where we're month to month, and we don't have much savings, and so how are we going to get by because we don't qualify for the stimulus? So that's not really going to help us out.
No, I totally hear you. So if I heard you correctly, you make too much money for the stimulus package,
right?
So that won't affect you. But the good thing is it affects the people that are buying your house, possibly.
Yeah, it does.
Fannie and Freddie passed a law recently that they don't have to go in the house for appraisals to protect you, to protect the appraiser, and it's going to streamline the process. So I think you're good in that particular case.
Okay.
And if I heard you correctly, it sounds like your motivation's kind of getting higher because you need timeliness, right?
Yeah, and I just don't know if these buyers are going to hang around. That's my biggest concern.
Mine too. Just know that I'm doing this literally every single minute of the day, making sure that we hold this together. And that's why I'm calling you every single day.
Okay.
Daniel, we're good. We got this. As of today, everything's good. By the way, let me tell you what one of the things I'm doing for you. I contacted the other lender and I said, can you make sure that this loan is sold and done? And can you close on this loan? I asked him those two questions specifically. As of yesterday, he said yes. If that changes in the future, we're going to pivot and go to another lender as a backup. You don't even see this stuff going on in the background, but that's what's happening.
I really appreciate that.
I'll give you a call tomorrow and update you again.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, pause. Again, you see how you can have something to talk about and depending on what they're saying is going to unfold. Okay? Any questions on that? All right. The next thing, these are like the top takeaways that I had from my Tom Ferry call and Bill Pipes. You have to pivot right now and redo your 30-day business plans. If you haven't done it yet, I know I've been saying this for a couple days or a week. It's time to do it. Develop a 30-day business plan. Good case, worst case, meaning that this is like, if everything goes pretty well, this is my business plan. And if we stay in lockdown, which effectively is where we're at, don't presume the worst case scenario, not what I'm saying. We want to plan for the worst and hope for the best. I get that. But if you're in lockdown as a state right now, like California, plan on that happening for the next 30 days and affect your business plan appropriately. It's very important that we don't have 90 or 12-month business plans right now. We need to have a 30-day business plan. This is minute by minute, day by day. This is absolutely critical for your business. I know many agents sitting on their hands just hoping things get better soon with no plan whatsoever. That is a plan. It's just a plan for failure. It's not a plan for success. All right. You're going to find that I'm very optimistic. I think there's a lot of opportunities to make phone calls right now. In New York, phone calls are illegal. Cold calling is illegal. It's not illegal to call your sphere of influence. It never will be. It's not illegal to call your database. It's not illegal to call your friends and family and the people that are past clients. None of those are illegal. But it is actually illegal to cold call expireds and FSBOs and all that in New York right now. So you have to know your area's limitations. That's not our situation out here on the West Coast. All right. I wish it was, frankly, because I'm getting like 30 a day. It's like they stepped it up a bunch because they know we're all home now. But the reality is making those phone calls, calling your past clients, your farm and things that you've got permission to reach out to, critical right now, okay? Pivot, new 30-day business plan. If you need help with that, reach outside the call with me. Let me know what we can do to help you. But, you know, it's really, really important for you to follow suit with that, okay? The next one is knowing your numbers in your MLS are as important as ever. It's going to help you know that the market's still moving. Carrie Scholl said this the other day on my call, the number 2 agent in the world. She goes, I know my numbers better than ever because we could see the trends are happening and we're jumping on those trends. The trends are we're getting more offers and more showings and more activity because not many people are working and people still need to buy and sell. There's still people that need to buy and sell for many different reasons, right? So in this particular case, she's able to now double down in some areas that are now money. She shifted, this is a big one, she shifted her long-term plans, which are Facebook, that's a more nurturing, building relationship, to now leads, which are Zillow. As much as and she even said, that's just like acid in my soul to even say that, it's true. So right now is now money. Make it rain leads are working very well. I just have a coaching client in Florida, Make It Rain leads. In the last 69 days, he's had 79 leads for $250 a month total. $250 a month, 69 days. He's had 79 leads. They have 2 transactions, I think, from these leads. And it's working very, very well. And that's now money like Zillow. A Zillow lead is somebody looking at a house, not building a relationship on Facebook. So I would not take any of your expenses off the pay now. I would not stop spending money. Keep everything the same. Don't double down unless you can financially handle it. But it's not, in my coaching opinion, not time to double down on your cost. It's time to keep the status quo and not stop. Okay, I have a lot of agents that stop doing what they're doing. They're going to also stop their momentum after they stuff this pipe in the can and load it for a week, 5 weeks, 2 months, whatever this time frame is, because there's going to be so much built up demand. If you're at 0 when this happens, you're going to be behind the curve of all these agents that have been preparing for this. I think what a beautiful business model looks like, let's just assume that this stays closed for 30 more days. In 30 days, you have 30 buyers that are ready to go look at properties, right? You can start leveraging out showings to other people on your team for referral fees or help. You could start listing all these properties ahead of time and have them ready to go as soon as this thing opens up. The MLSs are forbearing, the word forbearance again, they're forbearing the days on market. I don't know if you're aware of that, but many of the MLSs are looking at the days on market they're either going to have a coronavirus day on market and before. So if it was on the market 30 days and then after you're not allowed to show anything and we have a shelter in place order, the days on market are stopping, or they're going to be attributed to a specific coronavirus day on the market. And then you're going to have an active regular day on the market again. This, so the buyers don't see it's been on the market 120 days, although I think that's presumptuous that people will think that it's because of this, but they're talking about fixing that so the consumer doesn't see that it's been on the market a long time. They're going to have the options of seeing that it was really, delayed because of this, which I think is very valuable. To that extent, if you put it on the market right now, theoretically, it's not going to have any days on the market counting until we get out of this deal. So when you go live on day one, you're ahead of the curve. All of a sudden, you're going to have a flood of people that are coming on over the next 2, 5, 7, 10 days. You're at the top of that. Buyers are now in excess, looking at only a limited number of properties because you were ready. You see the value of this 30-day plan and being ready when it happens. Okay? Questions on that? Okay.
Wait, a question.
Yes.
So you're saying, Randy, that when it goes on MLS in California, it's not going to show because of the coronavirus in place, the stipulations?
No, days on market. The
Days on
listings
market.
on the market. Listings on the market, and it's per MLS, and it's all going to be different because nobody can get their heads together.
Okay.
But what they're looking at nationally and locally is they're looking at doing a day on the market adjustment, because it's not fair to say it's been on the market for 38 days when it's only been on the market 3 days before they got locked in.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. So that's another thing to explain to sellers when they go, I want to wait. I don't want to show it's on the market for 2 months before we're really on the market. That's a valid thing because we're not allowed to change the day on market. It's part of churning. Churning is the MLS rule where you're not allowed to relist your market or your home after only 90 days or so. You have to wait 180 days before you can give it a new listing number and relist it. Very common in November, December, you list your property and then they want to give it a new MLS number in the new year because it's got a different digit on the end of it, right? Everybody's understanding of that?
Can I make a quick comment?
Yes.
All right. So first of all, MetroList is, they sent out an email just probably 2 days ago explaining that people who are placing their properties on hold may not have that increased number of DOM, right? So that is something that they're working on here as well.
Cool.
And then in terms of churning, I do have a workaround for properties that we do. Me personally, and you guys should know that I operate in the gray zone as often as I can. I don't have a problem with it. The fine is $100 if they decide to fine you, but I would commonly, if I have a property that's sitting and stale and I want to take it off and relist it, I will backdate it as far back as necessary, maybe even back to the day that I first started listing it, so that that churn number disappears and I don't have a continuing days on market. And so for me, it's like, look, do I want to sell the house and show that DOM that's very high and have, some sort of stigma or pay extra $100? But I mean, $100 is nothing. And I've never been fined ever for doing that. And so I do realize it's against the rules, but there you go. Now you know a little bit more about me.
This is FREE99 Break the Rules group. Thank you, Doug. We know about you.
In Seattle, they're not doing the days of market. They're keeping them running.
Yeah, it's different in all the MLSs, and Doug's right. There's ways to manipulate that. In Santa Rosa, they won't let you put the next listing on. It's locked out, and you can't backdate it more than, I think, 7 days from the time you're on the MLS. So they've figured some of this out, and there's some safeguards, but glad you have a workaround. But the next piece of this is not only knowing your numbers, but posting these on social media. Very valuable. Sean did a great job. We talked about this yesterday, and then he did a post right after our conversation. And what he did is he posted and it's an easy report to run. He posted how many days on the market average, how many houses sold in the last 24 hours and in the last week, how many houses went pending in the last 24 hours, how many went pending with backup offers the last 24 hours, how many expired the last 24 hours, all this whole list. It was very entertaining to follow with, and people need that information because it's doing two things: showing that we're still active, the market's still moving, people are still buying and selling, and also they're attracting to you because you're giving them factual content. You're not coming on just saying, you know, make sure you blow your nose and wipe your hands and blah, blah, blah. You're giving them content that they want to know about, which is the real estate world content, right? But more importantly, the market is still moving. So after you make your empathy call to them, you know they're going to be looking at your Facebook pages now more often. They're going to come up, and then you're going to give this content and data. And then ideally, you're going to give a positive video. I'll give you a couple ideas in a minute, but something that you could do that's going to create content that is then sticky and they see, because now you're re-engaged with them from your empathy phone call. Okay. So this is a big one. I think, you know, Tom Ferry had a conversation with the CEO of Bank of America, and they're still figuring out what's coming. But what's coming is this massive stimulus, and it's the most amount of money that's ever been doled out in the history of the United States without even any close exception. You remember the press conference only 2 weeks ago where they got $8.3 billion, and it was a big deal. I mean, it was national headlines for over 48 hours that they put $8.3 billion, I think the number was, towards coronavirus, fighting it. And that was like 3 times what Trump thought he would get. Well, they passed within another week, 2 trillion plus. And, you know, just so you know, the magnitude of that, there's a cute YouTube video of a guy that says, I want to show you what $1 billion looks like. And he took a grain of rice and he goes, this grain of rice is $100 bill. And he goes, here's a grain of rice, that's $100. And then here's 10 grains of rice, that's $1,000. Here's 100 grains of rice, that's $10,000. And he went through this motion. All of a sudden he had this pile of rice the size of a Volkswagen hood that was $1 billion, right? Now think a pile of those Volkswagen hoods, a pile of them that equals $1 trillion. It's just a massive, massive amount of money. And that amount of money is going to be flowing into the economy. It's going to be flowing through unemployment benefits. Likely us realtors are going to get that, being independent contractors. They're lobbying for that. Heard that it's part of it, but I don't know that for a fact. But all these things are coming down the pipe that are going to have stimulus that, you know, there's just millions of dollars that are going to be pumped into our economy on top of already having a hot market 3 or 4 weeks ago, right? Wouldn't you all agree? We had a hot market 3 or 4 weeks ago. We were all super hot. We were all super optimistic about 2020 4 weeks ago. And now all of a sudden we're worried if we're going to be in the Great Depression. It's not going to happen. Tom Ferry, and I'll share some of these slides in this particular group. Tom Ferry showed slides, and he had the Keeping Current Matters people on there. And they were showing slides of the 2008 crash versus now, and how housing was trending down and all these things. Everything's been trending up. This is going to be like a rubber band when it recovers. We're going to have, you know, nobody's predicting a perfect V recovery. But here's the kind of the example, you know, when it's a blizzard and it's a snowstorm, you can't see anything out there, but it's bad. You can't see anything. And all of a sudden the blizzard's gone. You look out, it's beautiful snow, blue skies. It's kind of going to happen like that. And maybe even a better analogy is, you know, picture a 5-lane highway in Los Angeles, cruising along 75 miles an hour, one accident. It's up against the wall, but everybody stops to watch, right? And eventually all traffic stops. There's nothing major going on. There's an accident ahead, but all 5 lanes are dead stop. That's what we are right now. We shut the whole world down economy-wise. All 5 lanes are dead stopped. Everybody's sitting in their car. What do you do when you get to an accident? Do you get out of your car and you walk away from your car? No. That's your business right now. Don't walk away from your car, AKA your business. You want to stay in your car. And because all of a sudden traffic's going to start moving in the left lane. They're going to start going first. It's going to start getting a little better. Everybody's going to start moving. Pretty soon you're up to 75 miles an hour. If you got out of your car and you're over there smoking a cigarette or out in the field, your car's now blocking traffic rather than you're not going 75 mile an hour down the road with everybody. Kind of a silly analogy, but that really hit home for me when Tom Ferry gave that analogy. I go, that's absolutely true. Everybody's dead stopped right now. Pretty soon, a couple areas are going to start opening up. That traffic's going to start moving. You in California might be the third lane over that starts to finally get moving 10 mile, 20 mile, 50 mile an hour. But pretty soon, like after every accident, everybody's driving like 85 miles an hour now, right? Because they're all bundled up and they're ready to roll. I think that's what we're going to be seeing. So just make sure that you're ready, your seatbelt's on, your hands are on the steering wheel, you're ready to drive at full speed. All right, guys? So the next item I have is really, you're probably already doing it, but learn visual listing presentations. Give virtual visual listing presentations. I have a strong opinion on this, and I want your opinion on this. How many people are doing virtual listing presentations right now? We have people that are doing over 30 a week now. You got to take it off mute if you want to talk.
I have not done one. I've
Okay.
not.
Neither have I.
Okay. Anybody doing virtual listing presentations?
No, I just did one over the phone.
Okay. So this is going to be really critical, because if this ends in say this ends on Easter, like the president talked about, people are still not going to want you in their houses on the day after Easter. They're still going to be protective. This may go on for months in terms of the limited contact. If you start promoting the fact now that is in your arsenal, matter of fact, you're a master at it, and you start putting that on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and all these things, you're going to be attractive to people that's attractive to. You understand the power of that? Blank stares, kind of?
No, I was just thinking we have to remember as real estate agents that we're not in the market we were in back in 2008. It's not the same market. There's so many differences, and we have so many more positives in this market now than we did back then. So
totally
focused, being virtual is a great opportunity.
Totally. So on this, there's a lot of things within my company. I don't know if everybody's here with EXP. I think they are. Yeah, they are, I think. But EXP has lots of training going on for virtual listing presentations. I would highly suggest you embrace this right now. This may become the new normal. My prediction is the top agents will start doing this for timeliness and deliverability and control. I know agents that are taking 300 listings a year. Think about doing this without driving a half an hour there and half an hour back and then an hour at the house. You could do this at your desk, one after another, after another, after another. And then if this is...
I agree with you, Randy.
When it's all signed, then you could visit the house when the photographer shows up. You don't need to be in the house necessarily to take this listing opportunity. There's a lot of ways to work around this. Think about what we're doing right now. The seller is videoing the property for you so you can see it. Hey, I got everything, but is there 4 bedrooms? Yeah. Can you give me the 4th bedroom again? They shoot you another video, or you do a FaceTime, right? This is the world we're living in now, and the top agents are crushing this right now. And they're redefining how we do real estate business. Beautiful opportunity for EXP to leverage that, right? Because we were in that space already. But secondary markets have been doing this for years.
And some of this stuff's going to stick, right? Some of it's going to become our normal operating procedure from here on out.
This is
using the technology.
This is one of them, in my opinion. I think that there's still going to be showing and opportunities like that, but I think that we'll be doing buyer and seller presentations virtually, and then certainly pre-qualifying listing presentations virtually until we go to the house. Okay? So get in front of this curve now and be the expert in it, and then start boasting about it on Facebook. Start boasting about what you can do virtually, because again, Easter Sunday, perfect scenario, we end this thing. They are not going to, I don't want you in my house just because it's Easter Sunday and now he releases California, right? The agents are going to be busy again, but that's going to be reality for sellers. They're still going to mitigate the people that are in their house. So we can do virtual showings. We can do virtual things with buyers. We can do virtual open houses. I'm getting in front of the virtual open house thing because I think that's going to be the future, right? I don't want to self-promote my website and all that stuff, but mentally, I believe that the way we're doing business now is going to take hold in the future, at least some. I had somebody ask me earlier, well, are you afraid of like Redfin and Zillow and replacing us? And I'm like, how are they doing today? Does anybody know the answer how Redfin, Open Door, and Zillow are doing today, like in their iBuyer campaign and where they don't need the agent? How are they doing?
Well, I can tell you they've stopped buying properties.
100%. They
Yep.
are closed.
Closed for business.
They are closed for business, folks. Think about that for a minute. We were so worried about them, but what this tragedy and this national pandemic did is it exposed the system. There's so much activity and so many hot business buyers and sellers going on that they were manipulating that. They had about 10 or 15% of the market in some markets. Now they have zero because they need us. And the agents that are out there are now getting that business. And this is going to change how people realize that they needed the agent involved. I think it's going to be a blessing for us. So that's a big takeaway from this, in my opinion, that they're closed for business because they needed the agents to facilitate those pieces, because without having an agent that gets into the house, they don't have the systems available to make all this work, or without having the homeowner's involvement. We just kind of cracked the code on that, in my opinion. And I think this is going to stick with us and really be powerful for the future. Two last things, and I'm going to wrap up the call, and I'll take any questions for as long as you want. I promise that, and I'll fulfill that. But when I said talk to your bank right now and find out what programs they have coming up, and if you can, get them on a Zoom call with you to show to your social media groups what programs are available and coming up, because people will want to know that. They want to know from the horse's mouth how much money they're getting, what are they doing, what are they expecting, what the process will look like. You could have a great interview. Sean Work's doing this right now with some other vendors and banks. But get in front of that video right now. It's time to get in front of the video and get in front of your people that love you and your constituents, okay? But on that, I want to talk about, and the last thing I'm going to talk about is really small businesses and what's available for them. But in the banks, think about it. All this money is going to be available. I suggest you go make a relationship with your banker. So the phone call should sound something like this, my humble opinion, or an opportunity for you. Hey, Wells Fargo, this is Randy Byrd, Byrd House Real Estate. Hey, I want to get in line to get a small business loan as part of this stimulus package. No, I don't need the money today. No, I don't really have a specific need. I just want to have a safety net because things have been disruptive. So you apply for and get a business line of credit now, a small business loan. Some of these loans are available just because you are independent contractors and small business. And put that money in the bank. Just have it as available as a credit line, or better yet, take out the credit line, put it in the bank, and pay that little bit of interest on it. Because you could always give it back to them, or you could use it if this market does take off. You could double down at that time on your business and have those funds. If you wait, those funds are probably not going to be available as readily. So one takeaway from today is I want you to go out and get anything you can that will be a line of credit or loans, especially if they're these no interest or slow interest. They're also allowing you to take your IRA out with no penalty for the next potentially 3 years, right? So it's 60 to 90 days in some areas, up to 3 years. Look in your area. But if you could take that IRA out, and then you have the ability to, focus on having that money sit in a pocket, it's going to be valuable for you. And I lied. I have a 12 o'clock phone call with 2 leaders, so I have to get off the call. I forgot about it. I was going to take Q&A. But you guys can reach out to me and ask any question. I'll answer that in this group, preferably, so that other people can see the questions and answers. And if I left you hanging with a question until now and it's not in chat, which I don't see any, I'm sorry. I forgot I had this call and it just came through. So I want to honor that. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate that. Thank you. Hopefully you find value in this. If you do, tag a friend, invite somebody else to the call, any company, broker agnostic, and we'll be there for you. Okay, thanks.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Randy.
Have a great day, everybody. Be
All
safe.
right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye
You did
now.
Great.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great